Hello, all you beautiful people out there. It is Frater Zygmunt, and today we're going to be making another admissions badge. It's crafting time. Let's make some magical crafting stuff. All right, so we are going to be doing the solar Greek cross of 13 squares, which is this diagram here, which I pulled from the ebook version of the Golden Dawn 7th edition. So this is fine, but my plan is to recreate this using my own glyphs for all of these zodiac signs in the sun that I've designed myself. Plus, I am going to be adding color to it because I think color is a really important part of the Golden Dawn system, and we should indulge in it whenever we can, those bright, garish, pure, solid colors. So this is going to be a background of orange with blue sigils on it, and I'm probably going to do a little bit fancy work on the border. And then the idea is to design this in Illustrator, and then we're going to print it out and then transfer the design to a piece of poster board using carbon paper. And then we're going to paint it all in. And I think I'm going to try to use paint pens for this, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, a letter sized piece of paper. Put this on here. We are going to just make this into a template so we don't mess with it. But for the most part, I really don't need to see it. Just kind of go away. Why did that all go happen? Oh, whatever. Let's save this before we start. Solar Greek cross. Bam. All right, we got there. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get a grid going. So I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. And let's make a new layer. All right, let's get that grid going. And then we want it 7 by 7, sounds good. And then we want, how many horizontal dividers? 6 and 6, yep, that's correct. Boom, okay. Let's center this. All right, so now I have everything I need to actually make the cross. So we're going to grab the shape builder tool, hit Alt, and just start hacking away until we get the shape we want. Okay, there we go. All right, so I think I would like this a little thicker. Like that. That's it. All right. I'm going to get my RGB values from Hermeticulture. So we want the stroke to be blue. So there's Golden Dawn blue. Oh no, I made the fill. What did you do? What should I do? There we go. Boom. Okay, but... oh, I know what to do. And then the fill we want to be orange. Haha, there we go. Okay, so now let's select this. Yeah, there is no fill. So we want to start with the orange I wanted. There we go. We just fill them in like that. Beautiful. And then, because I want a black stroke around this whole thing. So to do that, let's copy this. Oh. I think this could stand to be a little thicker. Yeah, just a little bit. And then we'll go to the bottom one. Make that a little chunkier. Yeah, like that. That's good. That's what I like to see. So there's the background for our cross. You just lock that, and now we're going to put in all of our zodiac signs. So the first thing we're going to do is put the sun in here. So let me go get my zodiac signs. Oh, I know where they are. We want to start with the sun. Here it is. All right, so here we go. We've got the sun. We're going to select it, copy it, paste it, shrink it. Boom. And then the other thing we need to do is change the color. We get the right color, the correct color. Let's change the color. I need this blue, that blue. All right, there we go. And then I just gotta get all the rest of them. So this is just gonna take me a hot second. All right, we kind of cut out all the really tedious opening up all these files and dropping them in here, but we've got them all. These are all zodiac signs designed by me. There's a little inconsistency between some of them, but whatever. Yeah, it's good enough. And some of the parts are thicker or thinner than others, and I should probably try to make that more uniform. But here we are. We've got it. So the next step after this is to print this out on a piece of paper, and then we're going to transfer this whole design onto a piece of poster board using carbon paper and then paint it in. So I'm going to go print this out, and then we're going to go down to the basement and do a little bit of crafting. See you in a minute.
All right, I've got my design printed out here, my solar cross of 13 squares. I made 2 copies because if you only make one, you're going to mess it up. So we're going to put that one to the side just in case. Let's see, other things I've got here. I've got some carbon paper. I've got a few sheets. We'll need that in a second. To go with the carbon paper, we have some poster board back here, which we're going to ultimately put the design onto. Some painter's tape. You can use some masking tape, something like that. Try not to use like Scotch tape or duct tape or anything. This is temporary, so it comes off fairly easily. We got some styluses here. This came with my carbon paper. Stylee, I think is the actual plural, but stylus is in terrible English. So we're going to need just one of these, but this is my whole set. We have an X-Acto knife, some extra blades, a pair of scissors, cork-backed ruler, a cutting board, painting markers. All right, so that's everything we're going to use for this project. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to construct what's ultimately going to be our cross. So we need the design we're going to use, and then we need a sheet of carbon paper. You'll see that there's a dark side and a gray side. So hold on, here we go. So you can see the difference between the two sides. So this dark side is the side that transfers the carbon, the graphite. So you want that facing the surface you're going to be transferring to. I have many times done it the wrong way. Even though I know which way it's supposed to go, I still somehow managed to mess it up. So we're going to take the poster board. So this poster board has a shiny side and a dull side. I'm going to use the dull side. I think that's going to work a little bit better for getting the paint to adhere to it. And then we want the dark side facing the poster board. We want our design on top of it, like that. And then we can tape this down. Actually, before I continue, let me make sure I have this on the right side. Yes, okay, that's correct. All right, so we have that. So it's probably easiest to do the transfer first. So I want to make sure I have a very small little nub for my stylus. I think I grabbed the smallest one, but let's see if we can get these to notice here. So if you look at these, they come in different sizes. So I'm doing some pretty precise work with this stuff. So I'm just going to grab the smallest one. So I'm going to start with the lines on the outside. Right there. You're going to see the back of my head. Get this nice and lined up. Well, that actually is going to be cut. So we actually don't need to mark that. But the lines that we're going to be filling in, just take your stylus, just press down. It's okay to make mistakes. You're going to be painting over everything, so try to be as precise as you can, but you don't have to be perfect. You're just getting it done. And the good thing with this is that you can, like, there's little breaks in the lines here. You can just go over those because you're going to paint over it anyway. Actually, I can just do this whole line, can't I? What am I doing? All right, there we go. So let me pop this up and show you what we got going on underneath. You can see the lines are coming through here. So I'm going to go ahead and cover out the rest of this. That's going to take me a minute. So let's do time lapse and we'll see you on the other side. All right, so I've got the grid all transferred over. So now I've got to do the individual signs. So this might take a minute. Magic is tedious sometimes. Sometimes, you know, it's big, it's flashy. Sometimes it's really moving. Sometimes you're just, you know, sitting in here doing a very detailed, very delicate work, and it takes time. But that mindset it puts you in, that focus you develop while you're doing something like this is very, very helpful and beneficial. I think it's very helpful and beneficial to be entering different mind states and developing different mind states than your normal waking everyday mind. It's kind of like working out your brain, working out your consciousness, finding other things that it can do. And you'd be surprised. And the more you work with these different mind states, the better you get at switching over to them when you need to or when you want to. Some are more helpful in certain areas than others. Some of them are just fun to play with, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all part of your head, and you can get there doing all kinds of weird, random things, like delicately tracing out a bunch of astrological glyphs. All right, let me finish the rest of these, and we'll come back to it. Ooh, almost done. So I will say, some of my glyphs here need a little work. Some parts are a little too thin, and some parts are a little too thick. I kind of need to make it a little bit more uniform. But I did design these glyphs myself. I was just like not very happy with the sets I found online. And I was just like, I could just make my own. And so I did. And no, they're not perfect, but they're mine. Hooray. And if you are doing this project and you want to use different glyphs, feel free to just, you know, carve out the grid for the squares so you know where to place them and then put in your own interpretations of the glyphs. I know the symbol of Capricorn has a whole bunch of variations. And, you know, when you're doing this kinds of things, it's always good to put your own little spin on it. That's sort of what I try to do. Because otherwise they're just like carbon copies. And I'm not necessarily interested in that. And I really like making stuff. But I want to make it my own as well. But that's also not to say that if you don't necessarily have the skills or the inclination to do something like this, you might just want to print out the design on a piece of cardstock, cut it out, and call it a day. And, you know, that's your own approach to the work. But, you know, everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. I kind of went to school for all this sort of stuff, so I like doing it. It makes me happy. Look at that. All right, so we've gotten that all there. Let's take a quick peek. Make sure everything got copied over properly before we go any further. Okay. We did it. Ooh, we're almost getting over here. Okay. So looks like we got the design on there. All right, so the next step is we're going to cut this whole thing out. And the reason we're doing it, like we could take this off and cut along these lines if we transfer them over. I didn't transfer them over. But the problem is that sometimes these lines don't transfer over exactly. So if we make the cut and it's off a little bit, it's going to look weird. So it's best to just do it from here, from this layer, and cut through all three layers. And in the end, we'll just have this section underneath cut out with our design transferred onto. So the rules for cutting, you always want your ruler to cover up your design so you don't cut into it. And you want to cut away from your design so you don't cut into it. So, and feel free to take as many cuts as you need. You might take a few passes to get through all the layers. And that's okay. This rewards patience. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that beautiful line. All right. We're going to do this one. Get some of this stuff out of the way. And more cutting. All right. So I'm going to cut through all these layers and then I'll meet you on the other side. All right. On the last cut here. Hopefully everything went well. And if not, it'll be funny. So let's see. Let's see what comes out. All right. You do a good job? Oh, no, still got one more. Not the last cut. Let's try that again. All right. Crafting magical tools in my basement. Aha. Here we go. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so this is trash/recycling. And we have this kind of cool little design here. This is also trash/recycling. It's gone away. Boom. We have our solar cross. Oh, I didn't put the little dot in the middle, but I could just do that. Sometimes you can forget stuff. Okay, so the next step after this is start painting. So I want to get down my drop cloth so I don't get paint everywhere. We can put that away. All right, so I've got my copy design, my reference. I've got my paint pens, orange and blue. Oh, we also need black. Almost forgot, we need black. I got this scrap paper, the cutout. I'm going to be using that to make sure the paint pens are flowing okay. And then also I got a cup of water, paper towel, just in case. Paint pens are pretty easy to use. They're pretty clean. Usually don't get everywhere, but just in case, you never know. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. That's for sure. I feel that way about fire extinguishers, especially. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the blue, because I feel like the blue for water, that goes first. Then we'll do the orange. So let's give this a good mix. Let's see. Is this flowing all right? Looks like it is. All right. Is it going? So this is a really light blue. It's a little, it's a little lighter than this blue here, but that's okay. So I like paint pens. I'm just started using them recently. My issue with them is that you can't really mix the colors. So I have to kind of see if maybe there's a fill them up yourself paint pen that would let you mix your own colors or use your own colors. But for these purposes, it is okay. I normally do this sort of thing with a brush and a paint and a brush, but it definitely takes a while to do it that way. And these paint pens are generally a lot more opaque than the acrylic paints I use. Generally because they're like designed to go on top of whatever you're drawing on. So they have to be opaque. You generally only get like one pass with a paint pen. So you got to make it count. That makes sense. So there's that. And now we got to make a little, trying to kind of cover up the graphite lines. But if they're there, that's also okay. Circle in the middle. There we go. All right, let's go through the zodiac. So first we've got Aries, the ram. And I love this sign. I am very, very much fire and air in my zodiac natal chart. So Aries and I get along super well. I specifically am a Gemini. Gemini with a Leo ascending and an Aquarius moon. That's me. And I think I fit that pretty well. My Mercury is in Taurus. My Venus is in Cancer. My Mars is in Gemini. My Mars and Gemini are in a very, very strong conjunction, a Cazimi. So I'm very Mars aligned. Mercury is also really important to me. Okay, so we've got Aries. So next is Taurus, which is up here. All right, where were we? We said Mars, Jupiter. Jupiter I've got in Sagittarius. So Jupiter I have in opposition to my Sun and Mars, which is, oops, I'm getting paint on myself. Let's not do that. Which is pretty apparent. What I want to do and what makes me money, what gets me through the world is kind of always at odds with each other. But at the same time,
My Jupiter is in Sagittarius, so the world kind of just takes care of me. I think I'm very, very blessed and fortunate and very lucky at times that things come through. Sometimes at the last minute, but the universe has a way of taking care of me, and I'm grateful. And I'm hopefully trying to find ways to be a little bit more proactive in that sense, and I'm working on it. But for now, I've been very, 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 very fortunate and very grateful for all of that. All right, there's Taurus, the Earth sign. So now we're going to go to Gemini, my sign over here. Gemini. All right, so that is Jupiter. And the Jupiter, Mars, Sun thing is all happening along the 5th and 11th house axis. So the 5th house is where I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, where it is ruling. So the Jupiter is very fortunate, very strong there. And I feel a lot of Jupiter energy in my life for sure. And then Mars and the Sun are in the 11th house, which makes me very community focused and outwardly focused. And maybe that's why I'm doing this whole thing on YouTube. So we got Gemini, so let's go down to Cancer. Cancer, the crab. I have Cancer in the 3rd house. Yes, the 3rd house, right? No, that sounds wrong. No, I have Cancer in the 12th house. What am I thinking? I have Scorpio in the 4th house. Yes, because I have Saturn in Libra in the 3rd house. Makes you very regimented. Like the 3rd house is like day-to-day kind of stuff, short trips, your routine. And I have Saturn there in Libra where it's exalted. So it's also very strong. Keeps me focused on all of my projects and everything. All right, so after Cancer, comes Leo. Leo, where I have my ascendant. And yep, I'm pretty outgoing. I've got a pretty big personality. I try not to be too domineering. I try not to take up too much space. I'm pretty cognizant. I try to be cognizant of the space I take up. But I am a big person. I take up a lot of room whether I want to or not. It's just who I am. Some of us are quiet. Some of us are outgoing. And that's just how it is. All right, let's get to Virgo. My Virgo with its skinny little legs. Virgo in my 2nd house. I don't have any planets there. I don't feel really connected to the Earth signs all that much, except for maybe Taurus because of my Mercury. The thing about this is this diagram, it's about the sun moving through the elements, or through the zodiac, and organized by element. And the sun being the symbol of the self. Libra. I love Libra. I guess it's just the artist in me that really appreciates that Venusian Libra energy. Also sort of the Taurus energy that I like. And balance and harmony, all of that really appeals to me. So after Libra, we've got Scorpio. You notice they make a little pattern going around here. So it's like, dude. And then we've got after that, it's the cardinal, the fixed, and the mutable signs in that order. So it does a little spiral out. So if you make those lines, you kind of get a spiral around the sun and kind of mimics the movement of the sun through the sky, through the zodiac, the movement of energy, the flow of energy. That's one thing this work makes you appreciate is the flows of energy. Be more aware of them. I love the little Scorpio tail. There's just something, I don't know, fun about it. And then over here, we're going to go to Sagittarius, mutable fire. So I have my Jupiter, and some of the most important people in my life are Sagittarians. My partner of almost 11 years is a Sagittarius, and he balances me out quite well. Sagittarius and Gemini being opposite signs on the zodiac wheel. So there's a lot of balancing out between us, but I really do the fire sign thing very well and the air sign thing. So water and earth, not so much. We want to go to Capricorn. Now the Capricorn glyph has like a billion different variations. And I just kind of like this one because it's the one I can draw. I can remember how to draw. So I'm not really sure
what everyone else likes to use, or if there's like a preference from like Europe or the United States or whatever. This is just the one I use, the one I like. I can draw it with one stroke. We're almost there, done with these. We don't need to be exact. All right, and then Aquarius is where I have my moon. And so, yeah, I'm talking about all these signs as they show up in my natal chart because that's kind of how I relate to this stuff. Specifically because this one is all about the sun moving through the zodiac and the sun being a representative of the self of the person. So maybe as you are filling in yours, you can think about the signs and how they relate to you. And that is kind of part of the work. Because one of the things in Hermeticism is we talk about as above, so below, as within, so without, the macrocosm, the microcosm, yada, yada, yada. We all have a little solar system, a little sky inside of us. So it goes. And those interplays in the sky play out in us as well in various ways. On to the last sign, Pisces. And so understanding the signs and understanding how the signs manifest in you is important. I know some people are like, oh my God, I don't like this sign. I never get along with so-and-so. And the truth is that means you just aren't in touch with that part of yourself. I think that's much more important. And yes, maybe you just don't get along with certain people and that's fine, but it doesn't really have anything to do with their sign. But learning how to relate to all the signs inside of you, all the planets inside of you, will help you to become a more complete person. And that's part of the work of self-initiation, at least the program I'm following, learning all the planets and everything inside of you. Okay, so here we go. We have all of our sigils filled in. So I'm going to go ahead and just zoom on through filling in the rest of this. And I'll meet you when I'm done with the blue. All right. So I noticed I have a little bit of a messed up edge here. I'm just going to wait till it dries and use an X-Acto knife to try to trim that off. But, it's not the end of the world. So next we've got our orange parts. So let's make sure this is running, that it's going. All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead, start blocking that in carefully. All right, so we got our first square done. This is gonna take me a little while, so I'm gonna pause the video, get this all filled in, and then I'll come back after the jump with this all painted up. All right, we got the whole thing painted in. I did the edge in black. And here we go. We've got our solar cross and 13 squares, 12 signs of the zodiac, sun in the middle. No, it's not perfect. I'm not totally happy with this blue. I would have liked a richer blue. I might actually go over it with a darker blue with paint, but it's good enough for now. And it took a good bit of time, maybe about an hour or so to get everything in, maybe a little bit more. Maybe like an hour and a half, all told. And so, a couple hours of work, some time on the computer, all that. So effort's the part that matters the most. All right. So in creating magical tools by the Ciceros, they say about the solar Greek cross. Here we go. The solar Greek cross of 13 squares is the admission badge to the path of Resh in the 3=8 grade of Practicus. It is formed of 13 squares, which refer to the sun's motion through the zodiac. The zodiacal signs are further arranged in the arms of the cross according to the 4 elements, with the sun in the center and representing that luminary as the center of the whole figure. So I'm not supposed to see this figure over here, which is what we did. Huzzah. There's some more information over here, but you can, a lot of this is on their website, actually, I saw. So you can check them out. I'll put a link. But it's also a store. So, which good for them for making some money from this. But I really just like having my own. I might paint the back black, but this is good enough. So I'm going to add this to my collection of admissions badges. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.